way under Biden. They have other plans. This article was written 11/17/2020, so just the end of last year. For the second time in 4 years, fears that the Democrats would be elected president sent private prison stocks plummeting earlier this month. To the casual observer, the prospect of President-elect Joe Biden, who promised to stop corporations from profiteering from incarceration, presented an existential threat to a multi-billion-dollar industry. But big players in private prisons, CoreCivic and GEO Group, are not panicking, and rumors that their impending demise have been exaggerated. That's because they've been steadily diversifying, placing their bets on a future that includes revenue from a commercial real estate, electronic monitoring, and halfway houses. Let's read that again. That's because they have been steadily diversifying, placing their bets on a future that includes revenue from commercial real estate, electronic monitoring, and halfway houses. On a quarterly earnings call just 2 days after the election, CoreCivic CEO Damon Hinger was asked about the possibility that a Biden administration may end the company's contracts with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Okay, the contracts. Let's hear about these contracts. Hold on. Before I get to the contracts, I should be sipping on tea, but I'm sipping on grape juice. Okay. On the quarterly earnings call just 2 days after the election, CoreCivic CEO Damon Hinger was asked about the possibility of a Biden administration may end the company's contracts with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. He replied confidently, "We think our risk is pretty minimal there." He noted that back in 2010, the agency accounted for 15% of the company's revenues. Today, it's just 2%. The companies still care which party controls the government. The companies still care which party controls the government. A Newsweek analysis of political contributions from GEO and CoreCivic's political action committees found that both heavily favored Republicans in political donations during the 2020 cycle. About 95% of GEO's nearly 1 million in donations went to GOP candidates and the party, as did more than 87% of CoreCivic's 181,000. That makes sense that the Democratic Party has recently coalesced around banning private prisons. But the reality is that mass incarceration has been increasingly unpopular for longer. The related political headwinds have been clear to corporate leaders for years and have been encouraged to pivot towards providing a broader, less controversial mix of services to the government. Like other big companies, CoreCivic and GEO Group protect against risk with diversification, said David Fathy, director of the ACLU's National Prison Project. They have taken steps to insulate against major loss of incarceration businesses from the federal government. Whether it's enough remains to be seen. Indeed, both companies literally scrubbed the word corrections from their names in rebranding efforts in 2003 for GEO and 2016 for CoreCivic. CoreCivic's rebranding came around the same time the company began buying up residential re-entry centers, halfway houses, more commonly known as halfway houses. These are facilities where most federal prisoners spend the final months of their sentences so they can reestablish ties to the community, find work, and adjust to life on the outside. Didn't we read the executive order and did it say that that's what they want to do? Help you do this and help you do that. So they just taking the money from the private prison and they putting it over there. Private prison people still getting money off us. and we celebrating. See, okay, just a short break. You know what hurts me the most? Is that we are a joke. This man just got elected. And there are black people. I live in New York. I live in New York City. Yo, it was literally like a party in the streets. It was so disgusting. I wanted to vomit at how excited people were that Biden got elected. And they're sitting there and they're lapping up all of the doggy treats that he's giving you, not knowing that the whole time he's laughing at you. He is going home and laughing because he's like, I got these niggers fooled. And I am in cahoots with the private prisons. He's already given them a backdoor way around it. And he's laughing. He's sitting there signing an executive order that doesn't make any sense because they were already doing it in 2016. And people are celebrating what he's doing, like he's doing something. People who sit there and are excited about that, he's laughing at you. You are a joke. You want respect so bad from the Democratic Party that you have walked into becoming their joke. You are a punchline. You are a political punchline because you do not understand the English language. And I'm not saying that you don't understand words. I'm saying you're not paying any attention to the words they're using and how they are using them. They are using their legal slang to trick you. Please wake up. We cannot continue to be this misinformed. That's why, as rough and raw as this video is right now, I have to do what I can so that we are informed, because this is embarrassing. CORE has also been diversifying outside of the criminal justice and immigration systems altogether. In 2016, the company launched properties divisions to buy and lease office space to federal agencies like the Social Security Administration and the Department of Homeland Security. In the 4 years that followed, the company amassed 56 office properties. By comparison, it owns 50 prisons and detention centers. Core Civic Properties total more than 2.9 million square feet of office space by the company's own estimation of January this year. Core Civic was the largest private owner of real estate by the U.S. government's agencies. Its competitor, GEO Group, has in turn become the nation's largest electronic monitoring company since buying the ankle monitor company BI Incorporated in 2010 for almost $500 million. Since that time, the monitoring company has more than doubled the number of people it tracks to nearly 150,000. Yes, yeah, my nails, Audrey. According to GEO's 2018 annual report, the most recent available, at least some of that growth has been fueled by the rise in immigrants tracked by Immigration and Customs Enforcement's electronic monitoring as an alternative to detention. One simple way to gauge how GEO is responding to the political climate around it: wording. In 2010, the company counted offenders tracked. In 2014, that language changed to individuals supervised. In the latest reports, those numbers are listed as individuals under community supervision. GEO has also invested heavily in re-entry space, more than tripling its number of re-entry facilities and beds over the past decade. Those are the halfway houses. New and expanded forms of community supervision are byproducts of recent efforts to curb mass and incarceration to reduce prison populations, according to Lauren Brooke Eisen, the director of the Justice Program at Brennan Center, a public policy think tank at New York University. But those people need case management. Okay, so think about all this money. Okay, because you got to pay the case managers. And who you think the case manager is going to be? All right. But those people need case management, Eisen said. Those people need to pay fees. Those people have electronic monitoring. Those people are in drug treatment. So that becomes hugely lucrative and will continue to be so. It's a phenomenon that some observers have termed the treatment industrial complex. In 2014, a report by that name, Carolyn Isaacs, program director of the at American Friends Service Committee in Arizona, predicted that companies' pivot had begun and would intensify. They were selling whatever they think states are buying. Isaacs told the Marshall Project this month, soon as they got wind of the sentencing reform, they set about to figure out how to monetize that for themselves. Understand how these people think. Industry defenders counter that they are merely in the business of providing whatever capacity the government needs. For a long time, the government was locking up more people than it had space for, hence private prisons. As the government's priorities change, so will the business strategy. Government partners have been increasingly looking for alternatives to incarceration, including expanding residential and non-residential services, said CORE spokesperson Steve Owen. Our commitments to re-entry and reducing the national crisis of recidivism reflect that we are a part of the solution, though not the only one. So, it's interesting that he said that he has said that, because we talking about Joe Biden. When we talk about Joe Biden, you got to talk about Biden's law. So now Biden's law, he can come along and he wrote a law into practice that started the mass incarceration in this country of us. Well, intensified it, I should say. I can't even say started. I say it started in 1865. But I will say that he intensified it. And now he's in here lying and tap dancing and acting like he's part of the solution. And we know he's not. Well, now you know. Industry defenders counter that they're merely in the business of providing whatever capacity the government needs. For a long time, the government was locking up more people than it had space for, blah, blah, blah. GO Group and Core Civic are certainly listening when Biden says, as he did in October, that people who use drugs should be sent to centers built for mandatory rehabilitation and not to jail. So that was a dog whistle. You hearing that and you celebrating. They hearing that and they like, oh, okay, we need to diversify our investments. Sign up for free text alerts. You can find the link in my bio or in the description.